Good afternoon. On a Saturday, we're back again on the channel live, talking all matters driving, and we are now on the second week of weekend streaming, and we're discussing all these matters that concerns driving, opportunities, jobs, and all things that people should have. So let's talk about that today. It's a Saturday. Thank you for joining. Uh, Thank you for coming. You don't maybe. How are you doing? Everywhere, every corner. What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? It's a beautiful afternoon, actually. It's a beautiful afternoon, and we're just on about these issues of driving, man. The idea basically is to try and notify as many people as possible and make sure that people are understanding and are getting the information that is required. So please, let you come and join me, and let's discuss these matters, and let's talk about it so that people can get to know. We want as many people understanding. There are many people that are now thinking, okay, we came to the UK, came to Europe, and to start working as drivers, and we were drivers before. How do we deal with this issue? So that's what I want to deal with on, and those are the issues that I feel like we have to be talking about after as a matter of fact. So please, let's talk about it. Let's deal with this one as it comes, and then we can go get in the information. I am here to help you with that, so we can actually unpack such information as it might now this afternoon on Saturday. Please come and let's join me, please. Let's just come comment. You're allowed to comment. You come to give information. You're allowed to give experiences. You're allowed to talk about anything and whatever that has happened to you, or you're looking for work. Just talk to me. Good afternoon to you. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. All right, good afternoon to you. You're welcome. We're broadcasting live today. We're talking about all things driving in the UK, opportunities, requirements, training schools available, and what do they seek? What is it that you should do, and everything that can help you to advance that career of driving, be it a new driver or you are an old driver. So let's just be on the comment section. Let's talk about it. Whatever that you seek to know, all the experience you have had, and any information that you seek, you think you need to know, I'm here. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. It's all good, man. If you give a comment, I'll be able to know uh, what to answer and how to give information. But basically, I'm going to unpack a lot of things today, and I have got a lot of time that I should give information in abundance. So just help with the information that you seek. I'll be explaining, and we go along. I have a few topics to cover as well that I need people to understand. Good afternoon and welcome to the channel. We are talking about everything and anything to do with driving. And then let's deal with that. Everything and anything to do with driving. Let's talk about it right now. I just want muting the TV. That is it. That was just disturbing us, so that we can manage to hear each other well. All right, so I have a comment that I should answer here. So, all right, when you get to the UK instantly, do you qualify to? Yes, this is what happens now. When you come to the UK, you cannot instantly become a driver, right? So, this is mostly for people that are in the UK or who are just arriving or who are coming, who had their spouses or who are coming through any other way, but they are to be in the UK. So, now this is what happens. The UK government regulates in this way, right? So what they do is they require an individual to stay in the Republic for at least 185 days, which narrates to 6 months before you can take a test, right? So in that period, this is where it is very important to understand and to know what is it that I should do in the period and how long, how do I live in the UK? I'm a truck driver and I'm here now. What then do I do to get to be able to start working in 6 months that is coming? So now, this is what I want to help people with. For example, number one, there are many job opportunities that are in the UK: warehouse, care, engineering, people who work in the farms or any other sector whatsoever, because there's a lot of manufacturing here more than it is in Africa. So now, based on that information, what then do? You look for work elsewhere to finance yourself in order to be able to become a driver, because you require to do these licenses, which cost around 2.5, 3,000 at most, 1.8, from 1.8 to 3,000, depending on what circumstances have befallen you. So the first thing, you get here, or you are here already. While you have been doing other things, you have not thought of it being a driver. The first thing is to have a Class 4 driver's license. Right. How do you get the Class 4 driver's license? There are 3 ways or 2 ways. Let's just say 2 ways first. The first way is you come with your license within 1 year of living in the Republic or in the Kingdom, UK. You are required to exchange or convert your license through their driving licensing authority. You send the one that you have, and they convert to their Class 4. That's the first phase. Second phase, you are required to apply for an entitlement or provisional, right? So if you check on that, sending your license back, it takes 3 weeks to 1 month. Doing your provisional, which requires testing your eyes, BP, other diabetes and all that, by the doctors, you sign this form, D4 form, and after that, you then are required to take a D2 form that you apply yourself. You fill up to say what kind of license are you looking to do, right? That that information will take another month. Already you are in 2 months. In the meantime, you look for your work somewhere, right? Then from there, you are now, if you check 6 months, very short time for my experience, is very short time. And it helps you to understand that if you are going to be working elsewhere for 6 months, you are then able to come back and be able to look for another, to start looking for work. But before that, you now need to have uh, theory test done, right? So when I say theory test, that what I'm trying to say is that you go to do a theory multiple choice, you do a case study, and then you do um, hazard perception. If you pass those, then you can go. Right. In most cases, people are lazy and they feel like they can't go, they don't want to do it by themselves. They just go to a training school, everything is done for them, they pay so much money, which is a lot of money, and then from there, they come back with everything done. Then they only go to do the practicals. But then I always advise people what I did, which was easier and less costing, which is to do your own theories alone. Then from there, you go to training school. So we have a lot of people that are afraid that license from the UK is difficult to do. People are saying for you to have a license in the UK, it is difficult. You must have, you must be someone who is among the, how do you call it, among the 43%. They always say 43% of people who apply for license are the ones that pass. So it is very concerning to me when people say that, because the problem then is people are going not to go, are not going to apply or look for these jobs, of which the opportunities are good, and there are many opportunities, and it is actually wiser if you start doing it now. So my advice, very simple advice: let's try and let's start doing it as soon as possible. It is not difficult to get licenses. It is not difficult to work. It is not difficult to get a job. It is not difficult to even do this work in the UK, because you are not going to be overworked. You are not going to work like it is in Africa, that you would work forever. We did that. I'm the prime example of people that worked and worked and worked and worked. But I tell you now, it is very easy to come and start working in the UK as a driver. What is required is patience, because the process is here. There's no shortcut. You have to wait for a certain time. You see, so most people they can't do that, and they are not able to wait for such long times, which is a problem. But then we understand that if you can't make time, if you feel like it's too much, but now remember, everything that you wait for is always gives good reward. If you are going to wait a little bit longer, you are going to. The idea basically in this drive, in this channel for me to be broadcasting all these things is that I want to encourage someone that feels like they can't drive anymore. Someone that feels like they've driven and there are no opportunities for them. People that think it will be difficult to drive around the UK. People that think starting to drive again or to be on the way on a new territory is difficult. Those are the guys I need. Those people that feel like they see all the trucks all the time on the road and they can't penetrate the industry. They don't know what are the ins and outs. What is it that they are going to face? Those are the people I need. So let's discuss those matters. Let's talk about the question that you have. Let's deal with everything that you want to know. Let's talk about where I go and what I carry. What are the rules and regulations of the roads? Very simple. You do your loads, you do your work unsupervised. No one has to be looking and going and asking you or following you. There's no need for that. There's no need for that. So come, let's talk about it. Ask questions. What is it that you require? What is it that you want to understand? And let's deal with that. It's good afternoon to you. If you haven't joined, if it is your first time being here, please subscribe to the channel. We are always live on weekends. Sometimes during the week we do live streams. We show where we go. We show what is happening. We show how I spend my day, how I do work, what time do I sleep, what time did I wake up. To give you a preview of how it is. If it is your first time, please, let's talk about it. It is actually, on that very note, actually, I just remember, I just got reminded of something. This past week, I had a hectic schedule. Actually, I was working from the other side of town to the other side of town, and it was rather hectic. But there's something that I learned about it. Actually, I went to Wales, and in Wales, I understood that there are certain things that happen there, and the kind of life that happens there that most people don't know, you know. So I'm just someone who feels like wherever I go and whatever I do, let people know what's going on, and let them understand what's going on. And I just talk about it all the time. So this afternoon, I just felt like it is very wise if I could at least share this information with other people. Let me talk about it and make sure that information that I have and that I've gotten, people must also see it and know it. I met some other people that are also looking for work, that don't understand and don't know when to get work and where and what companies to approach and what is it that they need. So this is basically the reason for this live. Let's talk and discuss these matters together and share what is required, the experience we have had, and what's going on around us, and everything that is important. Let's talk about it. My name is the General, and I do drive. I'm not talking because of someone who feels like they should be telling people what they don't know, but I'm actually a truck driver, and I'm driving in the UK, and I'm doing long distance. Uh, I live on the road and come back weekends. Good afternoon to you, wherever you are. Thank you for joining us. It is with pleasure that you're coming to meet us today, where we're talking all things driving and all things that matter about it. You're welcome. Otherwise, wherever that you are, whatever that you feel like it is important, or whatever that you feel like we could discuss this moment, let's talk about it. I'm actually looking for people that can actually say, you know what, we want to know all these things, and please help us with this information as much as you can, right? So that we can actually help each other. It is very important. This is how I feel about things, right? This is how I feel about things. In most cases, you realize that people don't really like to share. People don't really like to share information. People don't talk about information. People don't like to discuss matters that are important. And people always are interested in what is good for them. So let's just come and talk about issues that really matter, issues that will help us, and issues that will in actual fact, help other people to grow so that we can achieve a few things that are important in our lives. So that's the reason, and those are the reasons for these lives. Basically, I am uh, with that motion and trying to make sure that we do such. If we can only help, or if I can only help one person who is losing hope, if I can only help someone who feels like it's been difficult for them and they can't do it anymore, I would be glad. I would be glad. These are the reasons why I come every time, and I always come with information and try to make sure that things are happening. So good afternoon to you. Uh, let's share this live. Let's talk to as many people as possible, and then let's discuss. However they feel it, however they see what's going on, let's discuss all that right now, this afternoon. Thank you for those joining. Thank you very much. It's a very good afternoon that we're talking all things driving in the UK, the challenges, the opportunities, how to get licenses, and how long it can take. Is it worth it? All those matters. Let's discuss and talk about it. Let's talk about it. It's actually a beautiful weekend. I'm back home and I'm relaxed and uh, besides talking to you and dealing with these issues that matter, there's nothing to do at the moment, and I'm just resting. And then later, today and Sunday is weekend, and then Monday we carry on. So that's the order of day anyway. But from my understanding and what has been going on, it is proven to be very worth it. And you know, there is another reason why I feel like people always ask me on, uh, you want to do driving and you want to do all these things, and then they ask all these kind of questions about driving and other things. I always say to people, it is actually a good idea to start driving. It is actually a very good idea to drive in the UK. It is actually uh, something that is more helpful to people that are looking for jobs. The industry is open. Actually, there are a lot of jobs. Actually, it's more like each and every company that you will pass by, they're looking for a job. They're looking for a job. Good afternoon to you. It is a Saturday afternoon, and we're just discussing all these matters, and we're talking about anything and everything, anything driving the UK and jobs, availabilities, opportunities, and that's looking to get jobs, and help we can actually deal with, and we can talk about issues that can help people to, you see, get better opportunities. Good afternoon to you. All right. So many people that are looking for jobs in the UK at the moment, they are worried of issues that are happening. Like they talk of issues like not getting jobs because they seem not to know what is it that they are required to get. They seem not to understand what is required of them, right? So that's the idea of which I've created this channel so that I help those people that look for employment, look for information, also want to know if they can manage. You see, it's very important that. So let's talk about that and let's discuss these matters. MacGyver. Let's discuss those matters. It's a you know in many cases actually, wherever I've been to Newcastle, I've been to Scotland, I've guys there, and I've been to South London, I've also been to Wales. When we discuss these matters, just as people and as guys or as just people interested in driving, when they come and ask me, how do you get the job? Is it worth it? And all those kind of things. I always say, look, driving has always been worth it, right? It is a process to become a driver. You can never become a driver one day. But I tell you this today, it is something that will make you. Uh, so anyway, let's let you join me and let's talk about anything that you feel like we need to discuss, so that we can talk about it. You know, let's talk about it right now, whatever that is. Uh, so I'm just waiting for you to come join. It's a beautiful Sunday. I mean Saturday. Let's talk about it. Let's just discuss all these matters and let's just do it. Let's be together. It's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful uh, Saturday. So for those that are joining, good afternoon and thank you for joining us. We are talking all matters driving today and everything that you may seek to know about driving trucks in the UK really. So if you it is the first time to be with us, please subscribe and follow the channel. Be able to see all the informative videos and that streaming that we always do to try and show you and help you with information relating to driving in the UK and places that we go and how to drive and how to be able to understand the rules and regulations and be safe on the roads every day. I do drive myself. I do travel places around the UK, Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland, and the Great England itself. So I go everywhere. I see these places. I see this. Um, I see people driving. I meet people that are looking for work. So I just thought, you know what? Let's create this channel so that the information is not made by individuals that I meet on the road, but let's get to inform the world, right? The world of UK, the world of Europe, the world of anyone who has a chance to come to the UK in future now or whenever, then they be able to understand and know what is it that they are required to do. So that's the idea behind the channel, right? We are talking of these matters not as people that are interested or that I want to be drivers. I am actually a driver with 15 years experience myself, and with experience in training drivers as well. So I do understand some people would say, okay, but what is it that you're going to teach us? What is that you're going to make us know? A very simple question that. So the idea basically is that I need to people to understand what are the requirements to become a truck driver in the UK. Is it worth it? How much opportunities are there to drive trucks? So let's deal with the opportunities. There are many. Almost every other company, you see their sticker, they're looking for drivers, right? And there are many companies that also employ drivers without experience. They do training for that. There are also training companies that assist with you being given a license, or you opt to have a license without paying anything as yet. Then you pay them slowly by installment, thereby helping those who would say, look, we are looking for jobs, we want to drive in the trucks in the UK, we are in the UK, but we don't know how we can raise 2.5, how we can raise 3,000, how we can raise 1.8, or we can raise 2,000 pounds to have a license. So that information I give, I have such information. There are many companies that are actually looking for people who want to be drivers, and they assist them in training, right? They assist you in training, they place you at work, then you start paying by installment. So that helps you, because the license is permanent with you. That helps you to get a job. That helps you to have a license. And at the same time, you are able to pay them. That is very important, right? Secondly, companies that employ people without experience, if you've gotten your license alone, right? This is what they do. They will train you to become a professional driver, first by making sure that you are a trainee driver with a senior driver going places. Right? You're given the vehicle to work on, you're given the time to use your tachograph card, so that you understand what is likely to be on the road alone, and what is it that you must understand, and what is it that you need to know. All those issues are what issues that I'm helping people with, and I need people to come forward and we discuss those matters. Any question that you have that you feel like, okay, I've heard you, but I have this particular question myself that is aligned to me, right? They have two things to do. I have shared a lot of information on my channel. I have given a few streams and videos that talk about the requirements and places and other companies. So what is very important right now is that if you are not a subscriber, you are new to my channel, please subscribe, like the live or the channel, and then you always get notifications when I do post or stream of this kind of information every day. Okay. Can you share step-by-step process to follow once you get to the UK and you start handing? Is it what is documentation is required? Okay. You get to the UK, you are in the UK now, you want to be a driver. First thing you ought to have, depending on where you're coming from, let's say from Zimbabwe, from South Africa, from anywhere, actually basically anywhere in the world, depending on how you call it, the class of license that requires you to drive your own domestic motor car for personal use. That license that you use for that is the license that you require to come here first and converted to a Class 4 UK license. That's the first step. Second step, you are an aspiring truck driver. You have never driven, you have driven. First thing, your license will be converted to Class 4. Whether you have a Class 2, you have a Code 14, you have a Class 1, or whatever class that affiliates with driving trucks from whatever nation you're coming from, you will be required to get a Class 4 first. A Class 4 is free. They just convert you. There's a minimum cost of about £64, including postage, that you change the license. Okay, that's the first step. Second step, now you want to have entitlement or provisional. So provisional in the UK, what they do is they want to only check your eligibility to become a driver in the UK. And your eligibility is qualified or disqualified in terms of your health and your eyesight, right? They check your eyes. How far can you see? There is a board that they ask you questions on what you'll be watching. And then if you see, then you pass on the test. And then they ask you, or in terms of do you have problems with health? Do you have problems with blood pressure? Blood pressure, or you have problems with the heart or heart condition or diabetic, or if you're diabetic, you pass that. They send the documents to Department of Licensing and Vehicle Authority, right? They send that document. It's called a D4 form that you get it from post office, and then you take it to the doctor. All the doctors will have it, the D4 one. They're the one that he completes. And then the D2 you get from post office. The D2 is just an application form that you use, and that you also state what is it that you're looking for, which entitlement you need, or what provision for. Is it for buses or for trucks? Or for small trucks that are Class 2 and Class C, right? This is the step. From this step, what you do is, after having done this application, filled and done the doctor, you take this application with your Class 4 license that you first got when you converted your license from where you come from, right? And that license, you send it with these documents to DVLA, right? Then from there, they send you back the license entitled for the licenses that you asked of, the provision that you asked of, be it was it Class 1 for trucks or Class 1 for buses, or then we go on to what's that for other licenses that are smaller, right? From there, the next step then is for you to do a theory test. So the theory test goes like this. There's a multiple choice of 100 questions. There's a case study of about 8 questions. 8 questions, 8 case studies, and with many questions in between. And there's also hazard perception, right? Hazard perception is something like this. I've spoken to people and they don't understand. So I'm just going to give you a kind of, to give you an imagination of how it looks like. Imagine yourself, you're in the cockpit, or you're behind the wheel, you are driving, right? And you see someone, a pedestrian, walking towards the road, and they may be crossing whilst you're coming. Or there is a concealed road, or when I say concealed, I'm saying there is a road that goes into the main road that you're driving in, and there's a vehicle coming, or there are donkeys, or whatever is happening. But we are talking of a situation that alters your driving, that requires you to apply brakes, right? A situation that requires you to swerve, a situation that requires you to stop, or a situation that requires you to be cautious. All those things. So that is hazard. So now they are saying, when you see it, how long do you take to react? That's perception. Now, so the reaction time that you take from when you saw it to it actually happening, or to a crash or whatever, that's what they judge to see, are you a safe driver? Are you careful? Are you watchful Are you seeing what's going on? So those are the issues that they talk about. That's a perception. A case study is a simple thing. They're talking of the rules and laws of the road that you must apply, and they give you a scenario. John is going this and that is happening, and then it's this and that, and then they ask you a normal question like, for example, a driver is going to London, and then on his way, he meets there is an accident that has happened, and there's a pedestrian that is that's on the ground. What is the first reaction, or what is the first thing you should do? So that becomes a question. And what are they looking for? They're looking for you to say the first thing is to warn other vehicles or other road users that there is something going on ahead. Let them be cautious. So you do that by putting hazards on and slowing and applying brakes. So then you stop with hazards on. Already behind, people will know there's something that's happened. Let's slow down, or we need to stop. Right? That's a question in itself. Or they would say, right, now you've seen the person, you did first aid. Now the person is just on the floor, or is like painting or whatever. What is it that you're likely to do? Right? Of which the first thing being that you want to check if the person is alive, if the person is conscious, if the person can talk or anything. Then you start to see, can I put them on the recovery position? Or if they can't talk, must I perform CPR, or what must I do? So those are the things. So that's a scenario that they're giving you. Multiple choice is simple. Multiple choice lets you know it. So that's theory. Then you're done with that. Right. But now this is what happens. For you to start doing, for you to be behind the wheel driving, you ought to have stayed in the UK for 6 months. So the advice that I give people always is that when you get here, change your license quickly. Because the quick I'm talking about, it takes 3 weeks anyway. You send your license, it's converted, 3 weeks, it comes back. Right? Maybe you don't have money, or you're busy with other things, or you can't access post office. Good afternoon for those that are arriving. If it is your first time, you're welcome. It is our own channel, you and me and everyone on the comment section, and everyone. You are allowed to comment, give insights, give your suggestions, any question. We are talking about everything driving, everything UK, driving, working, looking for job, how to get help, how to get training, how to get opportunities. Are there opportunities? We are talking all that. But at the moment, we're talking about the steps for someone from upon arrival to getting a license. So we have spoken about converting the license. We have spoken about provisional. Now we are on the stage of theory test that we've just done talking about. If you have any questions on that you want to know, just give me a comment down there. If need be, I can go down there and re-explain again. No problem with that. Right. The next thing now, then after you have done your licenses, the theory you passed. The next thing now we go to the track itself. There are training schools all around. You look for a training school near you that is convenient for you. How much are they charging? What is the next one? How much are they charging? What is the next one? How much are they charging? So let's say you are a new driver in terms of trucking, but you are interested, you're a new truck driver. You want to drive trucks. You have the money, okay, you passed all these theory things. What do? The advice is very simple. Don't look for a driving school or a training school that has old trucks. Old trucks always gives old problems. So now you need to know the functionality of new systems, because it is most likely that the jobs that you are going to get are with brand new or new trucks. Right. So if you a new someone, you're new on this channel, please subscribe on the channel. We don't play here. We give this kind of information that is so important for people who are looking to extend or enhance or become career drivers on AGVs or heavy goods vehicles or trucks, whichever you call it, or articulated, which means horse and trailers combined. Right. And like the live so that it can spread to other people to get this information, and also share to other people. Look for other videos that I've posted. I've posted a lot of insightful information that helps a lot of people. And most importantly, I show the routes that I drive, be it single carriage, which means one V1, and then double dual carriage, which means two ways on one side, or motorways, or highways, on freeways. That's how it looks, so that you can be familiar. You can also be part of people that know around the UK. I give that information. Right. Thank you very much. So we go ahead now. You found a driving school. Now you want to drive. You get there, you discuss, you find, okay, what they're costing, the cost is okay. So what is the process? Right. There are three things you're going to do there as well. Number one, you're going to drive in the yard, which is reverse, basically. Right. You have to pass reverse. A reverse include hooking and unhooking of a trailer. Right? You know nothing about the trailer. They ask you, you know nothing about the trailer. It's your first time to use this trailer. What is the procedure for you hooking? What are you going to check on the trailer? What is it that you're going to defect if you say this is wrong, I can't take it? Or what is it that you say, okay, this one qualifies, I'm going to take this trailer? They'll ask those questions with you, talking about it as you do it practically. But then you are taught anyway at the training school, you ought to know that. Then you are taught about unhooking. I was speaking to MacGyver, my good friend from Port Elizabeth in South Africa. I hope if you're there, if you're not, I'm going to, okay, I'll send you this video too, but I hope you're there. There is a term that we didn't use when I was working with you that is called black. That is to do with unhooking and hooking. Black simply means it's an acronym for B being brakes, and then L being the legs, A being airlines, C being the clip, and then K being the kingpin. So if you are hooking a trailer, there's those things. There's the legs and the brake, trailer brake and all that. So that you need to, there's a sequence at which you do it. It's black as it is. And then when you're unhooking, it's from K, C, A, L, B. That's how you do it. If you don't do it in that sequence, you fail. So it's something that I learned when I got here. It was just interesting. But anyway, it's not difficult when you practice now, when you do it all the time. It's actually the safe way of unhooking and hooking a trailer. Right. Then you learn that, you're done. So in most cases, you do that at the training school. The examiner mostly is the training school, is the director or whoever works there is always the examiner. But then the guy from the department comes. That's another exam that you're going to face. So when the guy from the department comes, this test is about the road driving. This is where most people fail. This is where the percentage comes to say 43% are the ones that pass and 57% fail in their first attempts in most cases. Right. Reason being, in the UK, you don't redeem yourself, and you can never redeem yourself if you fail. Let's say, when I say which you fail, I mean to say you are driving. There are faults. There are two sets of faults that they say. There's a major fault and there's a minor fault. On minor faults, you should fail up to 11. If they become 12, you fail. The test is failed, right? On major faults, one wrong move, that's it. So I'm going to give examples from major faults. Number one, unlike robots, okay, if you go through a robot that is red, it's a major fault. No matter how much you are going to drive correctly after, because you are going to drive for an hour and a half, up to an hour and a half, something like that, on the road. And they try to take you to many places that you should really have challenges if you're not a good driver. But if you're a good driver, you make it. Okay. Right. Number one, going through a red robot, you should never do that. If you do that in the first minute of driving, they're not going to say you have failed, let's come back. No. They know you have used your money. You must use all the money, but you have already failed the exam. So it's very funny. You drive with them to the end of the exam an hour and a half later. Then you come back, they said, oh, we are so sorry. You failed the exam. Unfortunately, you went through a red robot. That's number one. Number two, right, in the UK, you don't drive on all roads if you are an HGV driver or a truck driver, right? And it is stated. Unlike many other countries that you just check with your judgment that, okay, my truck can fit in this road, let me drive. No, here you don't do that. There are many places that are given signs. Good afternoon for those joining us. You're welcome. It is your channel, actually. If it is the first time, please subscribe and like this live, or like a few videos, and so that you will be notified all the time we do post or stream live like this time. Thank you very much. If you may share to other people, we are talking information very important. Today we are talking about licensing, the stages. We started by converting your licensing from somewhere, or if you are from the UK, you start with your class 4 yourself, and then from class 4, then you can upgrade to class 1. And the process of class 1, we said, we talk about entitlement, which is provisional, from provisional to theory to test. So now we are on the road test. Okay. We have mentioned one critical fault, which is called getting through a robot. So when you go, the next one is about when you drive to or onto a street or a road that has a weight limit on. Right. Number one, you have other routes to use, but then you are told you're given what is known as independent driving, right? Independent driving is whereby the examiner tells you, go to city center or to the library direction, right? And then you just follow the signs to the city center, for example. So now you're going to follow the signs yourself. You check on the board, which one is going to the city center, which lanes must I use, which side must I turn, and then he's just seated there. He's expecting you to drive on correct routes. He's expecting you to use the right roads. He's expecting you to use the right lanes at the roundabouts or things like that. And then you do whatever that is. If you pass that, then he will say instructive driving. This is when he tells you, in the next 300 meters at the roundabout, take the second exit to maybe Newcastle, right? Now, independent driving is very, very, very difficult in the sense that you are stressed about the license and everything, but at the same time, you must have followed instruction and make sure you do the correct thing. So all that pressure, you need to calm down, right? So number 2 is going on a weight limited street, and then you go with the truck. Once you commit, that's a big fault. That's it. Third one is on the roundabout. So here there are a lot of roundabouts here. A lot of roundabouts. In most places, most places we use roundabouts other than robots. So what happens is this. You might find a roundabout that is 3 lanes approaching a roundabout. And we are going straight, right? So the law of a roundabout is that, number 1, it says, whoever is inside and coming from your right, unless if they are robots, is there's the right of way. So you must wait for them. You yield or you give way. Number 1. Number 2, depending on the direction, you must always follow the arrow to where you're going according to what the lanes are instructing. Number 1, to the left is always first exit. Second, third, or fourth, depending on how many exits are there. It can be the middle one or the inner one. So if there are no arrows and there are 2 lanes, or let's just say there are 3 lanes anyway, your first exit, you are going to use the outer lane. And depending on how big is the roundabout itself, remember you have a trailer, you are not allowed, another major fault is to ever drive on the pavement. If your wheels ride on the pavement, that's it. Even though they were not going to turn you back home, you are going to last the 1.5 hours driving. When you come back, you'll be excited and they tell you failed because you rode. Look at this. Is it compulsory to have a PDP as well, or that's done once you get there? Okay, it is very compulsory to have a professional driving permit, which is PDP, but this side is called a competence certificate. You get a card for that, or we call it CPC card, right? But it's the same as that PDP. You're not allowed to drive on the road. Whenever they stop you or you are pulled over for whatever reason, they need to see that card if you qualify. Even though they can access electronically, they can still access that information electronically, but you should have it on you. So it is compulsory. Yes, thank you very much for that comment. Right. So on major force, we have 3 already. Riding on pavement. Secondly, not using the correct lane on a roundabout. And number 3, actually there are now 4. And the robot. So it's 3. And the 4th, weight limit. So the 5th one is overspeeding. If you overspeed, you are not a safe driver. So you also be disqualified. So those 5 things must never happen. And there's another one that is almost average to become a major and minor fault. It is in between. This is when you are supposed to, you are driving and you are supposed to be with almost near to the speed limit that is required. For example, it is a 50-mile speed limit or 80 kilometers per hour. That's 80 kilometers per hour. And you're driving at 70 or at 60. It is not allowed. Because they're also testing how comfortable are you when you are driving. Right? And there's another, so there are many things that they check, but really that one. And another one that is also very important, I think when you are driving, it is very practical, you have to, is when you must use your mirrors. Check the blind spot, check the right mirror, check the left mirror. Make sure that you are moving. Even if when you are moving, if you get past another truck or another van or something bigger than a Sprinter or something like the Quantum or something like those sizes of vehicles, you have to check if you really pass or there's a side swap or you hit someone. You need to make sure of that. So all those kind of issues are addressed in that test, and you have to make sure you are able to do that. Right. Then you pass the test. When you pass the test, very importantly so, now we need to talk about issues like, what then do we do? You just passed your test today, you're very excited, you come home, you're very happy. If you have not been able to eat for a while, then you're now able to eat. You're very happy, everything's just good. Right. So then what happens? What happens now is that you then you have to apply for a tachograph card. I have a video on tacho card that I put there on some of my shorts. It's a very short, sweet and short, and very informative. You need to check that one. That card now is required to be there. So you apply it online. Once the license, so you wait for the license to come back. Actually, the license must come back in 3, 4, 5 days. It will be back to you, and then you apply for the license for the tacho card. In another 3, 5 days, it will be with you. The CPC card. Once you're done with your test, the CPC card will be done for you, because there are tests that you do, also practical tests. Basically, CPC, they want to see, are you able to check? There's a video of walk around that I did, or it's called vehicle inspection, pre-trip inspection that I did on a walk around to show how it works. What is it that you are required to do before you start driving? That's for CPC, that one. They ask you such questions. They want you to demonstrate. Okay, that's it. Then you pass. From there, then we go to issues like, we are done with that, all that is done. Now we are now at work. Good afternoon for those joining. We're talking everything driving. Any questions, you can just put them there. You put them up. I read, I answer you. Anything drive, check my bio, check my first message that I put on top, so that you can, that I pinned on top. Oh, actually, let me pin it. I think I didn't pin it. Let me see. Okay, I've just done that. There's a message that I've pinned so that you can actually know what we're talking about. And just to give you a preview of what we can do, what is it that we want to talk about, and then we discuss together. Right. So, all the cards, we have 3 cards now. Now you're looking for a job. Good afternoon to you. Welcome. So, if you're now looking for a job, this is very important, and the matters are important now. The stakes are now higher. Number one, there are jobs everywhere. Okay. Truck companies are everywhere, near us, near everywhere. It's not like there are certain places that they don't have such companies. I think it was like by law that every other town must have a trucking company. I don't know how it works, but it's like that. From my observation, it's like that. There may not be many, but there are, right? So now what happens next? You are now supposed to look for a job. When you're looking for a job, number one, the first thing important is honesty. Tell and ask the right questions, and tell what you can, what you can't. Don't say you can, because you'll be judged of your performances at work because of what you said you can. If you're a new driver, it is very wise for you to make sure that you explain and tell them that you are learning so that they can teach you. Opportunities of such are very much available. People can be taught. Right? If you are an old driver who has been driving for many years, it is also very important to note and even explain that, okay, I have actually been driving, or I've driven for a while, or I've driven so much trucks, or even if the trucks there you're not familiar with them, you have the right to be told and be shown and trained on them. Depending on the operation, some are the trailers are tippers or kit insiders, or whatever configuration the trailers are, depending on what they do, what do they carry. You even right to ask and be told and be taught about that. Right? Another thing very important is on issues like it is very important to compare and contrast. Don't just get the first job that you get. Always get an opportunity that you give yourself of going to other companies to check which company can I go, which companies are available, and which one is better. Right? Very important. So on the companies that are better, it is very simple. There are a set of principles that they do. Number one, you check on how do they pay and when do they pay and how much work do they have. Okay, now you know. Number one. Number two, what are the ways in which they solve conflicts? If there are any problems or if there's an accident, how do they deal? How do they deal with such? But there are certain companies that immediately there's something wrong, that you have to pay. You are a new driver, you're starting to learn, mistakes are happening because you're nervous, you're still trying to know how to use GPS or a SatNav. At the same time, you are supposed to be someone who is running around and you make a mistake. Right. So you check how do they do with that. You also want to know if there's no work, how much am I likely to get? Because after all, you're in for passion and mostly finance. It has to alleviate your situation. So it is very important to know that. Please comment on things that are coming to your mind you want to talk about. Please let's discuss. And if you are new, please, thank you for coming. You are most welcome. Just subscribe to the channel so that this kind of information that is so important, you are going to whenever you need anything of such, you'll be able to be notified when we post. Or if you need something, you just put a comment and then we discuss it. Okay. We are not limited or confined to a certain topic. It's all things tracking, all things helping each other, all things getting information, all things what have I learned, what did I research, what have I seen, what have I experienced, what is my experience by as a personal, and then at a personal level, what is it that I want to know? What is it that you can share with us? And what is it that you want to know if you ever come this side? Or even Europe is the same principle after all. Right. Good afternoon to those joining us. So, as we are talking about driving and the licensing, and you got a job. Now you got a job, right? Very importantly so. Don't ever try to be someone who impresses the company by rushing to do things and get a better job. I want to show that I'm a better employee. I must run. There's no need for that. No one is actually judging you for that. They're actually expecting you to learn as much as possible at your own pace and doing the correct things, not causing accidents, no damages, arriving on time, loads not shifting, not causing expenses. So don't rush, don't try to impress, don't try to show that I can. No, take your time. Learn the tachograph. Learn how to manage your time and be able to make sure that you're doing the correct things. Very important. Okay? Now we're done with the license. We got the job. We are now working. Right? So now, let's talk about issues like the challenges where people are actually in the UK or are coming to the UK and they feel like, so how do I first, or who do I speak to when you're looking for a job? This is where this channel comes in. If you're looking for a job, you're looking for information, I'm available on this platform. You come here, check my name, or if you are subscribed, I've done a lot of videos that give information piece by piece. Today, I'm just brushing everything so that it can be known that, oh, there are issues that you can actually look for, but everything is in its own package. Actually, I've done different videos, and I'm still to do more that will help people, even about the vehicles themselves. I was using a Mac. I did a small clip about the Mac, Mercedes-Benz, and I did another one with Volvo, the ones that I'm using now. So you can get to know if there is another track, maybe you're a truck driver or you want to be a truck driver, and there's another track that you like, I want to know about this one. How does it work? It's either I will do a video, I can just explain. If you're here, you can just ask I can explain. I've driven Mercedes, I've driven Volvo, I've driven main diesel, I've driven Scania, I've driven DAF. I mean, I've also driven, but it's a Chinese maker. I don't think it's everywhere though. It's a FAO. It's not, or what is that? A Freightliner, I've driven that in International, I've driven that as well. So all those trucks are here, full information of such, if ever they've said. But let's say you are where I am here in the UK. You're going to experience the main diesel, you're going to experience the DAF, you're going to experience the Scania, you're going to experience the Volvo and the Mercedes-Benz. Those are the 5 trucks this side. I have not seen anything else other than that. All right. Other issues pertaining drivers, like in the Europe and all that I'm noticing is that people are failing to communicate like in English. For some reason, I don't know why, people do fail to do that. And please, it is important to understand basic English. So how do we do that? You're already here. You know how to get the license. Maybe you pass the license, but actually you're writing, you're not talking to anyone. Be patient. Don't say yes when you have not heard the whole instruction. It's better to say, I beg your pardon, or can you please repeat that? Or I didn't understand, can you please text it? Or whichever way, mode of communication that will help you to understand what the instruction is. Because this side, or in any company or anywhere in the world, you are supposed to work and do perform as per instruction, if it is an instruction, right? You are supposed to show and do the correct things as they are, since you are employed to perform tasks. It is very important. For people that know me in person, where I've worked and places of work, they know that I always maintained the idea that if I am to perform a task, it has to come as is instructed if I manage. If I'm not managing, then I will have to report and say, look, this one I don't think I will do it, or this one I can't do it, or this I'm not able to. If, for example, you're given an instruction and you feel like I can't perform to my capacity because I don't know how it is done, don't go on and try to do it and do wrongly, because it will show incompetence. Rather, do what you can. What you can't, explain, oh, this one I can't, I'm not sure what to do. It's very important that. Right. And then there's another issue that we may talk about, maybe about what is it that when people are coming here and they're looking for a job and they should start working, but they come maybe with their families, and then the family, like for example, the common phenomenon that happened the past few years, that people were coming as dependent visas. Someone was asking me, are you allowed to work in the UK as a driver when you came on a certificate of sponsorship? Right. Certificate of sponsorship simply means the permit that brought you here. Right? You're on a permit or different aspect. You may have a license, you may take a driver's license, but you can't deviate from where you are to become a driver, unless maybe you get a company that want to sponsor you on a different route. That becomes a different situation. If you are just supposed to switch, it can't work like that. You ought to stick to your visa category until 5 years. Of course, you can change companies, but you can't change the category. Right? So for dependents or other people that are not attached, are they able to drive? Yes. What are the requirements? Simple, as I was explaining all from the start. But if you feel like you are not there, please just comment down so that we know what to repeat and what is that you want to know. So that's how it works. Right. And then lastly, I think we are not going to be too long today. Lastly, on matters that are important, it is very important to understand the fact that the culture of the UK is not the same from Manchester to London, from Wales to Scotland. It's very different, right? People speak their own way, people live their own way, and people also take people in their own way. And each company has its own culture as well. So it is very important to always try to quickly adapt and understand the place that we have come to and be able to deal with people at the place that you are. Very important lesson. All right. So if there are any questions or there are no questions, I think this is where we're going to end the stream. I've said, I think, what is more important until someone gets a job. That's what I wanted to give on this episode, so that people at least they have somewhere to start. If there are any other questions that maybe in future people want to talk about and deal with, then we can deal with that. But for now, I think this one is a full package on itself. So thank you very much for coming by and being hosted by me, and having the patience to be with me and making sure that you are existing on the sidelines. Thank you so much. Salute.